do not understand why I keep lying and cheating on a man who has done nothing but love me. At least, that is what I tell myself. But the truth is, I do know. I just hate the answer. Every time I look at him, it feels like standing under a bright interrogation light. His love is the light. My choices are the evidence scattered on the table between us. He smiles at me like I am the best thing that ever happened to him, and all I can think about is the versions of myself he will never fully know. The ones I bury in late-night messages, in unfamiliar sheets, in the locked folder of my own mind. He thinks I am complicated. He has no idea I am dangerous. From the outside, he looks like the dream everyone keeps posting about. The good man. The rare one. The kind of steady presence women complain does not exist anymore. He remembers the date of our first kiss, the way my hands shake when I'm overwhelmed, the exact brand of tea that calms me down. He notices when I change my shampoo. He remembers the names of people I hate just so he doesn't bring them up. He is not perfect, but he is consistent. Me? I am consistently inconsistent. When we first met, it felt like being rescued from a storm I thought would never end. My life before him was a cycle of half-loves and almosts. Men who were all edge and no depth. Relationships that burned hot and died young. I was used to chasing, to begging, to trying to prove I was worth staying for. Then he appeared, like a plot twist I didn't see coming. He didn't make me chase him. He walked toward me, steady, intentional. He learned my triggers, like he was studying for an exam. He paid attention when I flinched at raised voices. He softened his tone around certain subjects. He apologized without being forced into it. He never used my past against me. For a long time, I thought that would be enough to cure me. That his love would be the medicine that fixed everything broken inside me. It did something else instead. It highlighted every fracture. Because the longer I stayed in his calm, the louder my chaos started to scream. I grew up in a house where love arrived with apologies after arguments that shook the walls. Where I love you sounded like a peace treaty after war. Where silence meant someone was holding a grudge and you just didn't know when it would explode. My body learned to relax only after chaos, never during peace. So when my relationship with him stayed gentle and predictable, my nervous system didn't recognize it as safety. It read it as a threat. My mind whispered that something this soft couldn't be real. That people were not this kind without a catch. That one day he would show his true colors, and I needed to be ready. How do you prepare for a betrayal that never comes? You create it yourself. It started small. It always does. A message from an old friend, a laugh at a joke that wasn't that funny. A little thrill when someone typed, "I miss talking to you." I told myself it was harmless. I told myself I was just being friendly. I told myself it was normal to enjoy attention. People flirt online all the time, right? It didn't mean anything if nothing physical happened. That is the first lie I told. Not to him, to myself. Because even before anything happened, something had already shifted. I started turning my phone away when I typed. I waited until he was in the shower to reply. I deleted threads, screenshots, anything that made my stomach drop when I saw his name light up my screen right after someone else's. The guilt was quiet at first, more like a whisper than a scream. You shouldn't be doing this. You know where this leads. I didn't listen. The first time I met another man in person, I pretended it was a coincidence. We were catching up. We were networking. We were just grabbing a drink. I picked my outfit like I was on autopilot, telling myself I wanted to feel confident. Underneath that lie was another truth. I wanted to be wanted, not as a wife, not as someone's safe place, as a risk, as a secret, as the slightly dangerous girl I used to be before I let myself be seen in the daylight. There is a different kind of power in being looked at by someone who doesn't know your history. He didn't know the nights my husband held my hand through panic attacks. He didn't know the arguments we survived. He didn't know the way my husband spooned me on the nights I woke up from nightmares, crying over memories that had nothing to do with him. He saw only the surface, the way I laughed at his jokes, the way my lipstick caught the light, the way I leaned in when the bar got too loud, letting my shoulder brush his. I could feel my boundaries bending, one by one. Each time I decided not to walk away, I told myself I could still stop later, that I was still in control, that I hadn't technically done anything unforgivable yet. Then there was a hand on my thigh. Then there was a kiss. Then there was no going back. On the ride home, the world outside the car window blurred into streaks of color. Streetlights, storefronts, people out living normal lives while I sat in the dark, tasting another man on my lips and rehearsing the story I would tell my husband when I walked through the door. He was asleep on the couch when I got home. Of course he was. There was a blanket half fallen off his shoulder, a glass with melting ice on the table, and a movie paused at the 20-minute mark. The second glass was waiting for me, still full, the condensation forming a ring on the coaster. He woke up when he heard the key. His smile was the kind people post in engagement photos. Soft, uncomplicated. "Hey," he said. "How was your night?" I lied, effortlessly. "I went out with some friends. It was fun." He believed me without blinking. He even said he was proud of me for getting out, because he knows how easily I disappear into myself. He kissed my forehead, pulled me into his arms, and told me he was glad I had a good time. I stood there, held by the man I promised forever to, while the smell of another man's cologne still clung faintly to my clothes. That was the moment a part of me broken away I can never fully repair. You would think the guilt would stop me. It didn't. Here is something people do not admit openly. Once you cross a line like that, the second time is easier. The third time starts to feel like a pattern. The lies get smoother. You know what works. You know which excuses he doesn't question. You learn how to juggle timelines in your head, how to switch from one version of yourself to another like a costume change. I became bilingual in 2 languages, devotion and deceit. In one life, I was the wife who made his favorite meals on bad days, who kissed his cheek in the kitchen, who sent him encouraging texts before big meetings. I laughed at his corny jokes. I listened to his worries about money, about work, about being good enough for us. In the other life, I was the woman who wrote things in messages I would never dare say out loud in our living room. I was the late night call, the blurred hotel room, the "don't post that, we can't leave evidence." If you ask me why I did it, why I kept doing it, even when it made me sick with self-loathing, this is the most honest answer I can give you. I wanted to feel alive without doing the work of staying alive inside myself. Cheating gave me the illusion of control over my desirability, over my narrative, over who got to see which parts of me. With my husband, everything was out in the open. He had seen me ugly cry. He had seen me silent with rage. He had seen me in baggy clothes and greasy hair on days I could barely get out of bed. His love stretched across all those versions. You would think that would make it easier to trust. For me, it made it harder. Because what if he woke up one day and realized he'd made a mistake? What if he finally saw what I see when I look in the mirror? Cheating became my way of holding the detonator. If anything exploded, I wanted it to be because I pushed the button, not because life blindsided me. He started to notice something was wrong, of course. You can't hide a fracture forever. The way I flinched when my phone lit up. The way I took calls in another room. The way my body was present with him, but my mind was half an hour, 2 miles, 3 secrets away. But instead of accusing me, he turned the spotlight inward. He thought he wasn't being attentive enough. He thought he was failing me. He thought my distance was a sign he needed to step up. So he did. It is admitting that my behavior is not some mysterious impulse, but a pattern I have been choosing. If there is a redemption arc for me, it begins here, not with him coming back, but with me finally staying in my own life, in my own skin, in my own truth. Not running to the next person who will make me feel temporarily interesting. Not hiding behind lies because I am terrified of what love might ask of me if I were fully honest. Why do I keep lying and cheating on my husband when he does nothing but try to help me and love me? Because until now, it has been easier to burn the house down than to walk through the front door, turn on the lights, and admit I am the one who keeps striking the match.